Right, on with the tank. Push my bush out. Could do with a new top, new bush. We're getting close now. Connect my petrol pipes. Tank brace at the front. Tank brace. Nip it all up. Tighten the top. Tighten the top because I missed it. Bit of a pretend it's that tight. Petrol taps. Right. 5/16 width. Nearly tight. I'll just pull the tap down a bit, hold the tap still. And give it a nip. Again, they don't have to be tight. Well, not that tight. Do the other side. Just turn my petrol on, fill the carbs. Glug glug. Right, to full now. My bell mouth's catching that. I'm going to have to put them back a bit further. Right, fit my battery. Right, that's the standard thing what usually drops in the bottom. I'll plug that in there, stand the battery on it, and this is a piece of inner tube. Pull it each side, then I can actually lift the battery up and down with that. So, there goes. Plug that in. It will go in because it's just to say it fits. I'm going to have to put that in the other way. Yes, I'll put it in the other way. Go in there, you beastie. It will go in, honest. There's a little curl on that side. Right. Negative wires. That's the one from my Podtronics. Get under there. Oh, bloody hell. Not squishing them out. Can't have that. Nice and tight. My earth wire. Always do your earth first and last. Take it off first, put it on last. Another piece of inner tube just down the side of the battery. If I can get that in. Just a little, watch me crack my battery, shouldn't do. No. Just to stop it rattling around sideways, pretty solid now that. Do with a new one of them. Oh, it's so close. Right, just check it's sparking. So I'll just get my key. Right, I'll just plug my seat on. Shove that over there. And a couple of pieces of rubber there, because my seat's about knackered. Check oil when it starts. Well, I only have one bolt in this rear hinge here, so I can move that out the way so I can get my seat on and off. Close enough for just now. Oh gosh, that's tight. Doesn't have to stick on hard, that fillet cap. Right, just so I can lift the seat off while I fire it up. Right. Right, I've got an ignition light. Check the spark. Fingers crossed. Right, ignition on. Give it a kick, see what happens. That's a good one. Both sides got a nice spark. Right. Just put a bit of oil on the spark plug threads. I should have cleaned them, eh? Let's take a chance. Right, how many kicks? Not too many, I hope. Right. Right, what's going to happen? Are you going to go steady? Put a little bit of petrol on both taps. I haven't got my bell mouths on. Oh well, I haven't got my bell mouths on. Tickle. Tickle. Open the door. Full choke. Ignition. Oh, is it going to go? Fingers crossed, have I remembered everything? Let's see. Don't want that going up my trouser leg. Oh. I think I need a rebore. Oh, damn. Mind you, I had a lot of oil in the cylinders. It might clean up, but I don't think it's going to. Yeah. Bloody hell. Oh well, that's the end of that rebuild. Time to do a rebore. What a bugger. I thought I'd have got a ride out of it. I don't think these are going to clear up. Yeah, wishful thinking I think. Wishful thinking I know. Oh dear. Guess I wasn't strove this timing yet. overnight. No, heading barrels off tonight. Saves me right for being a tight ass. God, fucking smoke. Well, it's the next day. Got my barrels down. It's May the 31st. I took my other barrels down to the machine shop to get them machined, obviously. Hopefully I'll be able to, they don't make plus 10s anymore apparently, so plus 20s. Because obviously they've gone metric. So there's no 10s, 15s, 30s, just they don't exist. Which is a shame. So because you're only getting half your life out your barrels if you're having to rebore the half a mil off every time. Anyway, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Piston rings, disaster. Yeah, not a disaster. I mean, it ran nice, started well, but fucking hell, it was a bit smoky, to say the least. There's no way it'll clear up. Absolutely not. So, I'm sure you'll understand. I might film this, but I'll do it from a distance and then just crack on with the job. Now, apparently the machinist, he's on holiday. Fancy going on holiday. It was bank holiday yesterday, so I couldn't take my barrels down there yesterday. So I took them down this morning, and he's on holiday till next Monday, or Monday coming. So next week I should get my barrels back, and then be on the road. Mind you, it's pouring down and horrible today, so it doesn't make much difference. Although if it had been going, I'd have been out. Right, I'm just going to this last video of me starting it up. It's about 20 minutes long. So I'm just going to, I've had a request of Heavy Metal, one of my subscribers on YouTube, and he just says do a little movie of the little homemade stuff, the homemade tools I make. So I'll probably do that. I've left all my spanners. These are all the spanners I used for the job, so I'll probably just fill it up and show you the spanners I used and what spanners I've needed, pliers, a hammer, things, wood, wire, stuff, just stuff. But I've kept most of it, most of it to one side, and I'll video that and fill this video up with it. So, right, here goes. I'll finish this vid off, and then I might just crack on with it, or I might video it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Mind you, I've got over a week, so no rush again. But the old saying, isn't it? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. He hasn't made any mistakes, hasn't done anything. I knew I was on a bit of a sticky wicket with them rings. I mean, after, you know, they were old, they were scored on the faces, and I had that score down my barrel, which I hadn't noticed really until I started glaze busting them. And then I'm humming and ahhing. But anyway, I've had to smash my piggy bank and take the plunge, and I've dropped my barrels in, as I say. I'm going down to 9:1 compression, 9.25 or something, 9:1s, and then I won't have to much for the higher octane fuels when I'm out in the sticks. Right, I'll just plug this on the computer and see what it sounds like, or if I got my head in. So, right, thanks very much, miss. Right, just let's see if there's a mark on the lens again. Just keep this here for a minute or two, a second, just to see. Right, here's a few of the bits and pieces of tools I've made. Sundry of prickers. These things, they come out of the what they call the descaling guns. They're really hard, high carbon, and I just grind different ends on them as I need a different end. I'll just put macro on. Yeah, so pokey things, a few hooky grabbers, hilty nails or masonry nails. They're dead handy for making different types of punches, little chisels, things like that. Couple of punches, usually old clutch push rods. That's extreme wear on a clutch push rod when they flatten out like that, usually when they're not high carbon steel. What else I've made? Little knife, a hooky thing. Right, what's that? Aluminium drift. I made that to put in my valve guides, all in same size as the valve guide. I don't know where my old ones are, otherwise I'd show you fit. Sharp hacksaw blades, I use them to take gaskets off. Peg spanner. Now this came out of a grinder, wasn't wide enough to fit the front wheel up if I remember right. So I sawed it, stretched it, made it fit, welded it. That, it's a socket, I machined the outside down. It goes into, I can't remember what size it is now. But that drops down into the fork leg of a 750 to hold the damper rod still. On mine, I made that to hold the damper rod still. It's a 5/16 bolt, 1/2 inch EF, and I just silicon it into a socket. And about an inch from the end, I drilled a hole through, and that's a pop rivet shaft. And then that holds the damper rod in my model. Obviously an Allen key I sawed in half. That's what did I say that was, 3/8 or something I think it is. And that half I can tighten up the head studs with the rocker boxes on. A little spanner, I cut that out and made that out of just a piece of steel actually. And I just cut a slot in it and ground it just to fit the tappets. My little wiry thing, what holds the push rods about the right distance. I literally just bent it round a couple of push rods, and you've seen that in action. That used to be a square one, but you grind a radius on and it fits the sludge trap plug. A big tent peg with a hook on the end, and that I use to remove my sludge trap. Piece of threaded rod, a piece of threaded rod. It's an old bush for putting in bushes and pulling out little end bushes. Threaded rod comes in dead handy for pulling and pushing things with a sundry of washers and bits and pieces. Me tappet locker uppers, it's just petrol pipe, and I put a split down and push them over the cam followers, just stops them dropping in. A springy thing I made for the carburetors, and what I can do with this, I should have set this up first. Right, it holds the carburetor spring compressed, and then I can drop the wire through, the cable through, and it saves the pulling around with your fingers. and then just pull that off and the spring opens up, obviously. Bing! Job done. Quite easy to make. Just squash your spring up and that's your measurement you need to bend the bit of stuff, and I just sawed a little notch in for the cable to fit. A little rubber ball is quite handy, and I use that to press in the plug hole to find my compression, because my thumb doesn't fit or my thumbnail stops us getting my thumb in. A little cellophane thing, this is what I put my time inside the oil seal on the cam. It saves damage in it. It's acetate, I think it is, and I've just glued it together with a hot glue gun, and it's just a cone shape to go into the oil seal and over the cam end. You saw them in action. Side of an oil can. Pity the oil can wasn't a bit longer, so I had to use a little bit to make a filler. That's me piston ring compressors, and to use that cable tie fairly near the top, near the rings, as near the rings as you can get them, and a bit of oil. That's them. An old spark plug, smash the inside out. You can use that if you put something down, you can actually use that to find your top dead centre. And if you saw grooves around it like that, you can use that to clean spark plug threads out, which is handy to drop it down now and again. Just screw that into your spark plug hole every now and again. There's my clutch adjuster. I literally drilled a hole, sawed it in half, ground it to fit. And there's one on that end as well, with the holes a bit closer. My clutch locking tool, it's just a friction plate and a plain plate bolted together. That locks the clutch up for when you're doing the crankshaft nut. Them are special tools. You don't really need that, that's a timing plunger. You can use a screwdriver for that job, but you must have one of them, that's to get the clutch off. A homemade puller. This is what I made to get the, or I use this to get the engine sprocket off, and it's just a large piece of metal, big thick piece of metal with a hole tapped in, a bolt, and then drill a hole where you want it. I've elongated the holes to give it a bit of sideways movement. This thing, it's just a 5/16 bolt again, screwdriver end ground on it, and then I've wrapped it with sticky tape, and that is for adjusting the primary chain tensioner, because they're a right pain in the butt, they are, and there's enough tape on there so it holds it steady in the hole as I turn it. A little puller here. I can't remember what thread that is, but it screws into the boyer and it gets the boyer reluctor off. And a small piece of 6mm metal. And I gauged that. I poked a stick down the hole into the cam, and there's enough room to screw that into the reluctor, and it pops the reluctor off, or the rotor. There's another puller I made. I've used that for all sorts. It's a big hole in the middle with a nut welded in, and then really I just drill holes as I need them. I'm running out of metal to drill holes in that. It's been dead handy. Peg spanners. You can make them out of anything really. I've just used a couple of roll pins. Obviously it's not for the Bonneville, but it just gives you an idea that you can make stuff. It's just two bits of angle iron welded together. A bolt with a piece of hose pipe on, and that in itself holds on my degree wheel if ever I want to use a degree wheel. I wouldn't like to rev the engine up with that on, like, but it's alright for a pointer and just getting your general degrees. And then there's my bit of laminate flooring, clapperboard just for holding the conrod steady and resting the barrels on when I'm putting the rings on. And that's about it. That's me special tools, and I just make stuff as I need it if I can. Right, these are the spanners and the gear I used, apart from my board and things which I've showed you. This is the gear I've used to do my engine. Right, I doubled up on a few spanners, but I've got a couple of pairs of pliers, pointy pliers, side cutters. These are just sundry tools, a couple of adjustables, which are alright for slack stuff, but don't use them on good tight nuts because they usually open up and ruin your nut. A pair of mole grips, good tools used properly. Half-inch drive, I've got a ratchet, a power bar and a T-bar. When you're setting your timing, it's nice to have a T-bar on the crankshaft to turn it. A 3/8 little one, little extension, the 3/8 ratchet. Right, in my 3/8 sockets, I'll talk them out. I've got 10mm, 14mm, which is a power 9/16 EF, 13mm, which is a power or a slack half-inch EF, but I've got metric, a few metric bits and pieces on my bike, an 11mm, which is about 7/16, 13mm long socket, that was good for getting the alternator off, 19mm, that's good for getting my footrests off, and a 17mm. That's my 3/8 stuff. In my half-inch stuff, 23mm, I think I had that on the alternator nut. 19mm footrests again, and a 17mm. Can't remember what the 17's for, somewhere on the bike. The AF gear is 7/16, half-inch EF, 5/8 EF, which is about 16mm, 11/16 EF, that's around about 17ish, 7/8 EF, and 15/16 EF. And in the Whitworth, 7/16 Whitworth, 3/8 Whitworth, and a 5/8 Whitworth. In my spanners, I use combination spanners. Right, I've got a 14 combi, a 17 combi, a 19 combi, a 12 combi, that's the exhaust clamps, a 10 stepped ring key, and a 10mm combi. Oh. In my AF stuff, that's 5/8 3/4, 3/4 EF's about 19mm, half-inch EF combi, 9/16 half-inch, a 9/16 half-inch, and a 9/16 combi, 7/16 and a half-inch open ender, 7/16 combi, 7/16 3/8 EF open enders. That's an 11, is it 11/16? 11/16 EF and 5/8, hang on, it's got loads of markings on. 5 BAE, 7/16 UB. I use that, it fits me petrol taps, it holds me petrol taps still. And for the petrol tap nuts, 5/16 Whitworth and a 3/8 Whitworth. Whitworth, a half-inch Whitworth, and I can't see what that end is. 1/4 width and 3/8 width, a 3/16 Whitworth. That fits my tappet adjusters. and 3 HBS. Right, 5/16 wit and a 1/4 wit again. A couple of screwdrivers, different lengths, different ends for this screwdriver, and that fits the pillar bolts great. Assorted Allen keys, nearly all the F. I think there's one metric which fits onto my exhaust clamps. My sawed in half 3/8 Allen key. I used a extension bar now and again. A drift for, what did I use that for? Oh, knocking the tapping on the engine sprocket. An impact driver for undoing the gear Phillips screws in the gearbox. I don't use it to tighten them up, I just use it to undo them. And then my old hammer. And a couple of squirty bottles. And them are the tools I used to do this engine rebuild.